as well. And so we are in our indigenous lands of Creek territory, but we're also on a black farm, Your Faith Farms. Give it up for Your Faith Farms. This is our second annual Revolutionary Healing Friendsgiving. What you all are going to experience today is some healing sessions. We call them healing sessions, but they're self-improvement sessions. It's your choice, because most of the time, what's the first rule at Revolutionary Healing?
Yourself.
You must stay in your healing session.
Everyone must
You
go.
have to go to your healing session. That is your teacher.
You have to go to your healing sessions, including the teachers and the instructors, and also Queen.
Yeah, I love what you say it.
So we have these healing sessions, but because of the fact that this is a beautiful atmosphere, a community atmosphere, and we have some amazing vendors, I'm not going to bully you all, okay? Because I'm an Aries, Ram. I'm real quick to, anyone knows Aries that knows that we are some bossy people? Yes. So I get bossy at times, but just give me grace, give me grace, give me grace. And Kim's going to talk to us about grace in a second. But all of the co-founders of Revolutionary Healing, please come to the front. Malik, Tahuti, they're working though. Kev, Earth, Kimberly Jones, Chris Brown, who else? Legacy, Pablo. We worked hard in the past year to make this revolutionary happen on the third Sunday of every single month. Please register on therevolutionaryhealing.com in order for you to subscribe to,
So we can learn one of the first rules of revolutionary healing, which is extending grace to each other. We got a lot of new people, so old people bear with me, because y'all heard these words before. But sometimes we need a reminder. Now y'all stay over there at that McDonald's, ordering ice cream that they ain't got, because the machine is broke. And y'all still extend them grace, and y'all go back and you ask for a McFlurry yet again, knowing chances are real low, about 25% chance you actually gonna get it with some M&Ms or whatever you ain't supposed to be eating no way. But you don't extend that grace to each other. You go into a black business, and if they ain't got napkins, you tell everybody to tell everybody. You post 55s. You get online talking about that's why I don't do business with black people. Where's your grace for them? The same grace you extend to McDonald's and its broken machines. So you don't think about the structural system that means that your sister opened her Jamaican spot with her life savings. That because the community she's in is redlined and she can't get the loans that her counterparts can get. So that she's looking at her day-to-day sales to survive, and maybe napkins wasn't available that day for her. So instead of you getting on the internet talking about do not go to Sheba's Jamaican ribs and things because they didn't have any napkins, your job is to say, I'll be patient, Queen, I understand, I got napkins in my car. Better yet, how about you go to Restaurant Depot, take $100, get 3 boxes of napkins, and you show up the next day and say, here you go.
Come on now, Queen.
Grace. The number one thing they taught us to do that damages us is to dislike each other. It's to not offer patience to each other, to not extend grace to each other, to not show love to each other, to say, you know what, that sister's having a meltdown right now, but that ain't about me. That's about something internal going on with her. So let me be patient and be quiet and let her run through it. Maybe she's neurodivergent. Maybe this is the way in which she needs to process. And the patience and the grace that I could extend to her today could extend her life. Maybe you see 2 kids fighting Instead of driving by and saying it ain't my problem, get out and grab one of them and hug them tight. Hug them like it was your baby. Hug them like you would want somebody to hug your baby in that situation. Grace. See, these are some of the things that the crack epidemic did to separate us, because before that, we offered each other that grace. Before, we were more concerned about how to make a dollar or how to get high. We extended that grace to each other. There have been systems that have happened throughout the decades that has separated us as family. And let me tell you something, you don't have to share my blood to be my family. You are my family because community development, personal development is a collective experience.
Yes, it is.
This is why we do revolutionary healing every third Sunday of the month. And this is why those of us who teach are required to go to classes, because we're just as broken. I see several of my fellow activists out here like Queen and Queen. She said she Queen Junior, you Queen Senior. That's what she said earlier. We consume a lot of death. We get a lot of phone calls about having to go to the morgue with families. And so we need healing too, because I have to be whole to fight for y'all. A broken me cannot service you. A broken me will service you with ego instead of emotional maturity.
Amen.
And these are some of the things that we need to start working on. We need to stop being so easily triggered. We need to stop circulating clickbait. We need to start thinking through and making sure that the decisions that we are making have been valid, because if your word is your bond, your word had better be researched. Your word had better be vetted. We come from an amazing people. We come from a warrior people. But they want to keep telling you come from a beaten, battered, and broken people. I was sharing with my brother Blue the other day about one of my favorite warriors, Gaspar Younger. See, they don't teach you about these people. Gaspar Younger, it's debate. Some people say he was West African, some people say he was Seminole. In 1570, he went to war with the Spanish. And for 30 years, he held the Spanish off. He climbed to the highest mountain in Mexico, Star Mountain, and created his own colony and beat the brakes off the Spanish for 30 years. And when he came down and sat down and talked to them and said, all right, if y'all tired of me rocking your socks, give me and my people a colony. And they said, no, we ain't gonna do that. He said, well, I'm gonna bust you down again then. And he did. And the war was so bloody, and there couldn't be a determined winner, to where they finally just said, okay, Gaspar, dang, dog, man, you win. And right now, see, y'all don't even know. Right now, that was in 1618 that he settled with them. And right now, hundreds of years later, if you go to Veracruz, Mexico, you can go to the town of Yunga, still all African run. But we don't even know about these lands and these stories, because the story they want to tell you is a story where you lost. But if the winner's telling the story, or the supposed winner is telling the story, then it's not true. Now we have these Friendsgiving, and I'm gonna give the mic back to my sister so we can honor the tribes who actually fought during this time. Because we must honor them, especially standing on this Cree land. We must honor them. Because in doing this, this is not to say that we side or celebrate with the wrong side. This is to say that we side and celebrate with warriors who still stand tall, with their backs straight, their heads held high. Come on, sweet spirit. And that today, as we stand on this land, as we commune with each other, as we elevate each other, as we do personal development, as we walk around and we extend each other grace, I want y'all to keep telling yourselves in your head, grace. You don't have to say it out loud, just tell it in your spirit, grace, grace. So when someone bumps you today, you're going to say grace.
Grace.
When someone sits in your seat, you're going to say grace.
Grace.
When someone maybe talks a little bit too much in a session, you're going to say to yourself, grace.
Grace.
We're going to walk in a spirit of grace today, and you're going to remember it, because people will tell you practice makes perfect. That's silly. None of us will ever reach perfection. But what practice makes is improvement. And improvement is a lifelong journey. Improvement you do until the day you die. Education and improvement is something that you do until you finish job well done and you reach your ascension. Because if you're not learning every day, you're not living every day. And we have to start responding and have to start proactively living. And part of proactive living is learning, is understanding, is patience, is grace. Look, y'all see my hoodie. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I am as hood as they come. It took me a long time to learn that fighting is not how you resolve conflict. But here's what I did learn, is that kindness is so gangster. It's so easy to be upset and pop off. And you think that's strength. Real strength is taking a step back and thinking about how this moment is going to affect every moment after that. Real strength is knowing that you walking in grace and kindness, not in a submissive way, but in a way of power. Is a way for you to educate people around you. The next time someone gets want to get in a little tussle with you, you tell them, this is not how we gonna handle this. Because whether I like you or dislike you, it doesn't matter. You my brother and you my sister. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna exercise some emotional maturity right here. We're gonna come to some resolve. Or if that masculine energy around y'all with y'all teenage boys really need to tussle, you're going to put 2 gloves on them. You're going to put them in a ring. And you're going to say, when it's settled, it's settled.
That's right.
And we're going to learn how to walk in intellectual and emotional maturity. It is childlike to let your emotions rule you. Y'all all want to holler you grown? Grown people think. An angry man is not a thinking man. But a person who's solid and secure and centered knows how to see not what a moment does now, but what a moment does in forever. So today, if you don't walk away with anything else today, walk away with this one word: grace.
Give it up for Kimberly Jones. Give it up for Councilman Mark Baker from the city of South Fulton.
Before we give the mic to Mike, I just want to say this. We're not going to get into politics today.
That's my gift.
Councilman Mark Baker. So I have worked on cities like Seattle, LA, Phoenix, Arizona to change their Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And I'm working here locally with, I'm so happy 2 years ago, it just came naturally for Councilman Mark Baker to change the city of South Fulton Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And the blackest city in America. And on top of that, this month is Native American Heritage Month. This is the most triggering time for Native Americans because of the fact that we just came out of Christopher Columbus / Indigenous Peoples Day, but it's still a federal holiday of Christopher Columbus Day. Who all thought President Biden changed it?
He did not. No.
He just said our names. He just gave us a shout out, which is the most disrespectful thing. Now, mind you, then after that, it's triggering because of the fact that we are still here. It's triggering because Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. But it's still a holiday and people are still talking about it as he is. So then after that, we are dealing with Halloween. Who all seen costumes of Native Americans in Party City and Walmart? We are not a costume.
Yeah.
Then the Atlanta Braves wins the World Series. See, being black and Native American, I feel like I'm the oppressed under the oppressed. Because I'm seeing my people that look just like me, but they're making mockery of my mother and my ancestors on my mother's side. Saying doing the tomahawk chop. And they're out there thinking that Native Americans are a mascot. We are still here. We're not a monolithic people. We come in all beautiful shades. 562 tribes in the United States today. Then, here is the month, Native American Heritage Month. We're supposed to be celebrating this month. But this is also the month where they massacred and killed 700 Pequot people. This is a national day of mourning. So I would love for Shanae to come here because she is coming from that band and from that area of the Shinnecock, Pequot, Wampanoag people and Narragansett people. So it's important that we acknowledge her people. This is a very difficult time because this is her lineage of those that they massacred on this National Day of Mourning. And we have you standing here for a reason, brother. So I would love to give it up for Shanae, who is Shinnecock and Black.
Nadasi wisa kampana yu mishuna tu yuskwa. Wachi Shinnecock, wachi Pamanaki, wachi Siwanhaki, wachi Wyandanch, wachi Quashawam, wachi Tadenbaum, wachi Sassacus, wachi Massasoit, Osamequin, King Philip. My given name is Eileen Canoe. I'm Butterfly Woman. And I come from the people known as the people of the Stony Shores in Southampton, Long Island, New York. You know, I kind of break it down in public education to say, well, if you've heard of the story of the Pilgrims and the Indians, well, those particular Indians were my tribes because we were first contacted. So when we talk about recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, Native American Heritage Month, where we come from, we still live in colonial towns. So I'm speaking to people that really understand laws and jurisdiction and the difference between the municipalities. But our tribes, we didn't get moved. We didn't get removed like the Trail of Tears. We still literally live on Shinnecock land, on Massachusetts land, Nipmuc land, Mashantucket Pequot. We just lost a week ago an Eastern Pequot sub-chief who was one of my teachers. And we're often forgotten about. And just like Yunajdaha said, sometimes our own people forget about us. So I feel I get it 3 times. As colonial tribes, some of the other tribes forget about us. So when I was contacted about 2 years ago about what could take place and which has taken place regarding the, I don't know if it was a proclamation, resolution, I'm not sure, a holiday change, okay, recognizing the day. I organized New York City. And those that know New York City, or New York, it is one of the most regulated states in the country. And why is that? Because the Shinnecock, we were one of the first tribes that forced that area to create laws. We still live there. So to recognize something like that, the state may have, but it becomes harder when you're dealing with a colonial space. And so I want to thank the organizers, for one, giving me this opportunity to speak about that. But I want you all to know something. This is the year of the 400th anniversary of the Mayflower. There was two Mayflowers. They came to Patuxent, or which most people call Plymouth. If you've ever been up there, this time of year is the highest grossing year for that city. Or I'm talking to different people that understand different things. It's the highest grossing year. And why is that? Because this is the time where everybody likes to see the Indians and celebrate pilgrims. But do you know that my relative, who is one of the youngest leaders in the Northeast right now, Brian Whedon, who is the chairman of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, declined the invite for the parade that they had yesterday. They're having a parade on our genocide. It's very emotional for me to even be here, but I had to because it's a part of my obligation to my people as there's gatherings and healing and relatives that have invited me to do so. But I want you to all understand that there's a parade happening in 2021 when the youngest chief in our territory rescinded that because in 1970, my uncles and aunts went out in 1970 to protest the National Day of Mourning. So when people think about the National Day of Mourning, it was my aunts and uncles that started that, and they called AIM, because they were the Eastern chapter, to come out there. And for them to actually have a parade is disrespectful in every way when the tribes have decided not to do that. But I'm also speaking to our relatives that are finding out who they are. Because there were natives that led that parade that were not from there. And that hurt even more than the colonists. And they did not once mention the local people. So my responsibility is to also say that when we recognize this in cities, and you may not see or know who the Muskogee Creek people are, the lower Muskogee Creek people are, it is also our obligation as leaders to know who they are and to know what the protocols of this land is, because it can hurt them if we don't. We were hidden on purpose. Some of us are still hidden. I am a very visible woman, but I represent a confederation of people going up from Pocahontas' territory all the way up to Micmac territory. Those are confederations. And so coming down here on this day and at this time, it is extremely emotional. But I just want to thank the organizers for having this and also inviting me. And I want to thank the city for recognizing that, because by doing that, you're creating healing beyond just a holiday. You're creating real, actual work that the United States has yet to do. So I have gifts because that is the right thing to do. Can Brother Patrick come up?
Brother Patrick! Come on!
Yes. Yes, so I have gifts to give for thanks. I actually have a cousin here that lives here, and she also is Shinnecock, Sequoia. Yes. So it's not just one of us down here, but I just want to gift you all some medicines here to just say thank you for what you have done. What I am gifting is some sweetgrass that has been freshly braided, as well as some wampum that has been from our shores, which is considered America's first currency. You know, people say that it was Manhattan was sold on hanks of wampum. Well, the Canarsie, which are our relatives, they were forcefully stolen out of their land, but they still had to give up wampum, and that's what you all have there. So thank you for everything you're doing, and you know. But I have one song, and that's it. To sing. Thank you, Creator. That song means thank you in our language, and I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the organizers. I do have gifts for you as well. And I just want to say thank you for holding this space. And when you do sit down this week, we're not saying don't celebrate being together. That's not what this is. Nanawa in our language means harvest. This is the time of year. We had an eclipse. We had a full moon. My tribe has been in ceremony for 4 days. Today we start our feast. This is that time of year that we do gather, just not because of genocide. And I just ask that you recognize the paper genocide being done to indigenous people now, and check yourself if you're partaking in that. And if you don't know how, just like the sister said, grace. Humble yourself and say, I don't know. I need resources. And I thank those leaders that have come to me, and I'm going to say Chris Brown, because came to my house to tell me what was happening in Atlanta as far as a resolution. And that's the traditional way. You come to someone's house and you gift. He helped to braid that sweetgrass. So this medicine is all a part of it. It's all a part of it. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. And I have gifts for the organizers.
Thank you. Give it up for Shanae.